Hey friends, welcome back to the basics, Farmer Pat's YouTube and Instagram channel. So you may be wondering, how do you choose where you're going to plant your peaches? As you can see behind me, I planted 17 of the 25 that I bought this year. And I chose this site because first off, it's on higher elevation, okay? If you plant your fruit trees on higher elevation, you're going to be less likely to have frost damage because frost is more likely to settle in low pockets and lower elevations on the land. And why is frost dangerous to your fruit trees? That's because on cold and clear spring nights when frost falls from the sky, it lands on the buds or on the flowers on your fruit trees, and then in the early morning when the sun comes up, when the sun's rays hit the frost that is now on your flower or on your bud, it can burn it. And when it burns it, it's going to kill it. And remember, the flower is what becomes the fruit later on in the season. And another advantage of where I planted, you see these woods behind me? Well, they help to shade the sun in the early morning. And this gives me another advantage over frost because by the time the sun hits this section of the land, an hour and a half has passed, the air has warmed up, and the frost has disappeared off the buds, therefore preventing frost damage, okay? And I made sure the pH of the soil was between 6 and 6.5. Make sure you take care of this the year before, because when you add lime to the soil to get the pH more neutral, it takes about 6 months to a year for the lime to take effect. So I limed this area last fall, and my pH is 6.4, so this is good. And another thing to consider is the amount of sunlight. How much sunlight do you need? You need only 6 hours of direct sunlight, okay? And another thing that is very important, you don't want to plant where the soil is soggy. After it rains, if the soil collects a lot of water, avoid planting there, okay? You want soil with a good drainage. Speaking of drainage, I'm planting my trees the old-fashioned way, using a shovel. You know why? Because when you use a shovel, it forces you to use more of your body. It's healthier for you, and it's healthier for the soil. Because if I came out here with an excavator and I had heavy machinery that was on the land, this is going to cause soil compaction, especially since it's been wet the last few weeks, okay? We've had a lot of rain. It's early spring. We've had a lot of rain. It's a great time to plant, okay? And these fruit trees, I saved $30 this year per tree compared to the prices I paid last year, okay? That's the nice thing about the more you do this stuff, you learn how to save money. I also saved a lot more money on the fencing and fence posts, okay? You learn where to get the best bargains for the supplies, and each year this becomes so much more satisfying to the stomach and to the spirit. You know, behind me in these woods, I don't know if you could see, but I could see there's plenty of new houses on old farmland. You know, I'm only a quarter of a century old, but in my lifetime, I've seen most of the farms in my area that go for sale. They become suburban developments, and most of these people moving out here are only growing grass and having swimming pools. And so we are at risk because the distance our food travels from farm to fork keeps increasing, and the small town farmer keeps disappearing, and this is not safe. Yes, we produce more food than ever before, but like I said, the distance this food travels comes from so far away. What if there's a disruption in the food supply? If more people started planting fruit trees and blueberry bushes and raise their own vegetables and had a flock of chickens in their yard, well, we would be a lot more stable as individuals, as families, and as nation, okay? So remember, we all have an obligation to grow food, to gather food. None of our ancestors had a choice, but today we think we have the choice. But I tell you what, I've told you before, when you grow your own food, it brings you more satisfaction than from anything else I've known.